You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now, TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN, streaming on the World Wide Web, and now on demand at TSPNTV.com. Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The Amador Fire Protection District Chief will look at fire staffing heading into fire season after a hotter than normal lead-in weather. The Amador Water Agency Board ponders answering the grand jury report. Supervisors to consider fire staffing with $300,000 extra after ending the Amador Plan with CDF. And Amador Water Agency asked staff for a tally of funds spent on answering information requests, lawsuits, and legal work on the CFD formation. And in the second half of the news, I'll speak with Patty Knoblauch about the Preston Castle Foundation Restoration Project and an upcoming fundraiser concert by the Stephen Charles Band on July 21st. So stay with us. We'll have these stories when I come back from the other side of the break. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. Hi everyone and welcome back. Amador County Board of Supervisors on Tuesday dropped its off-season fire coverage agreement with CAL FIRE and directed Amador Fire Protection District's chief and an ad hoc committee to look at staffing entering a fire season that has had exceptionally hot lead-in weather. Amador County will be saving about $300,000 in pulling out of the more than 60-year-old Amador Plan. CAL FIRE Amador El Dorado Administrative Chief Joe Tyler said the line item of the Amador Plan for said personnel or paid personnel could be omitted, and the Amador County can move forward and not have the plan. And if they need to amend the agreement, he would ask supervisors to table it and amend the resolution, and he would bring it back to the Board of Supervisors. Unanimously agreed to do just that. Supervisor John Plaz asked if they amend it to not fund certain portions, how would it impact the quoted costs for services we are choosing to keep? And Tyler said the line item would reduce by $256,000 by taking out the Amador Plan, leaving a balance of just under $300,000, including a dispatching partnership with the Jackson Rancheria. The breakdown would have Amador County paying $224,000 and the Rancheria responsible to pay $74,000. Supervisor Brian Oneto asked about uniform costs. Tyler said that was specifically for the firefighters and was the state-established benefit rate for uniforms. They cost $70 per month for 3 employees. Donna Marino of Cedar Creek Fire said the uniform allowance shows up on the check and the firefighters must pay taxes. Supervisor Vice Chair Richard Forster said correction officers get taxed on uniforms and end up paying for most of the uniform. And Supervisor Ted Novelli said they are entering fire season and the weather has been hotter than any year on record. He said we need to do our due diligence in protecting our citizens and property. General Service Director John Hopkins said they are talking about the fire season. The Amador Plan is an off-season agreement with CAL FIRE. Novelli said, we don't know when the fire season ends. That's up to God, not us. And Boitano said they should make sure everybody's funded with enough money to provide the fire season coverage. And if there is excess, then they can deal with that later. And the Amador Water Agency Board of Directors on Thursday, July 12th, discussed its response to the 2011-2012 grand jury report, saying they would like to respond soon. Amador Water Agency General Manager Gene Mancebo said he would draft a response to get it to the directors so they can modify it as they see fit. Directors went over a list of 22 future agenda topics from the June 28th meeting, but had no topic on the agenda and were criticized by Bill Krondershoff. Mancebo said staff planned one major topic for the agenda Thursday, but staff deemed it not ready, thus it was postponed. President Director Gary Thomas said he would rather have good information to consider at a later date. Mancebo did not prioritize the list, but said the top 3 priorities were a lawsuit regarding Government Code 66013, internal loans and policy, and finalizing the latest audit. Thomas said Mancebo is overworked, but there is Saturday and Sunday, and Mancebo said work on those days does happen. Director Paul Molinelli Sr. said we could have just as well prioritized the list ourselves, and I'm not uptight if it's not done yet. He He also asked if issues on the list were something directors wanted to talk about, referring to the first issue on the list, a financial forecast in comparison to climate in Amador County. Thomas said that item was requested a year ago by Debbie Dunn. Molinelli said, I'm personally well aware of the financial climate, and anybody that's in business understands the financial climate. Krondershoff said it was about Amador Water Agency losing money when it's a wet season and making money during dry seasons. He said that could be fixed. Mancebo said the agenda items suggested by the public should be handled differently by staff than by items proposed by directors. Thomas said they could hold that issue for clarification by Dunn to clarify if she intends to make a presentation. The list included the grand jury response, and Molinelli said the sooner they have Mancebo's draft response at the board, the better. Dunn asked if the board would include the public in the response and if it would be published in advance. Molinelli said it would be an agenda item in a public meeting. Thomas said he was hoping the grand jury response would be discussed Thursday, and Director Rich Farrington asked if the response would include addressing information in the so-called facts. Amador County Supervisors on Tuesday ended the Amador Plan off-season agreement with CAL FIRE and will now look at having an extra $300,000 in Proposition 172 money for fire and public safety. County Administrative Officer Chuck Eiley said if they do not spend the $300,000 on the Amador Plan, the county should want to hang on to it. Supervisor Chairman Louis Boitano suggested a possible committee of board members look at spending the funds because it has been a tough budget year. He said they should make sure they fund the right departments so they can do their job. Supervisor John Plass said the board enters a contract paid for by Prop 172 money through Amador Fire Protection District. Eiley said AFPD paid the invoices, and last year $84,000 of the 172 funds were left over, which rolled over to the Amador Fire Protection Authority. He said this year that amount will be $250,000 more. Plass said funds have been going to AFPD and asked if it becomes an AFPD decision or did supervisors decide today, that is Tuesday, July 10th. Eiley said, you are the controllers of the Prop 172 funds. You can give it to AFPD to distribute to the departments or to make the distribution yourselves. Supervisor Brian Oneto said they should make a committee, flesh it out, and see the pros and cons for staffing. Supervisor Richard Forster said they should look at costs because the county can't keep paying for it and cities have to pull their weight. Pla's motion to amend the fire contract with CAL FIRE to eliminate the Amador Plan and asked Tyler to bring them back in a revised contract showing that amendment. Plass also mentioned that the county retain monies from that savings in the county until they hear from the ad hoc committee and form AFPD PD Chief Jim McCart on staffing recommendations. Eiley said the Prop 172 dollars can't be used for general fund spending. They will keep the savings in place until they get information from McCart and the ad hoc committee. Tyler said he will have the revised contract at the next supervisors meeting in 2 weeks, July 24th. And the Amador Water Agency Board of Directors on Thursday, July 12th, was criticized by a former board member, and then a current board member asked for a tally of agency funds spent on answering information requests, battling lawsuits, and doing legal work on forming 2 facility districts. Bill Krondershoff asked about $42,000 in legal bills and accounts payable and an $80,000 payment to JTS. Amador General Manager Gene Mancebo said the legal bill was over 2 months and include multiple attorneys and issues. Director Art Troy said the legal bill is typically $8,000 to $12,000 a month, and Mancebo said the JTS payment was credit earned for impact fees from when JTS paid to build a pump station in Ione that feeds the 2 million gallon storage tank built at the Wildflower subdivision. Debbie Dunn criticized the agency for not having a handle on the budget, saying they had no idea how much money they would spend on legal fees this year. Director Paul Molinelli Sr. said, what would you do if you exhausted your money, budgeted for legal fees, and there's more lawsuits coming? You still have to pay the bills. Director Robert Manacero said, I would like to invite you to a Budget and Finance Committee. He said they talked to the Controller and Mancebo because they are projecting the budget. It's a budget. It's a working document. Dunn disagreed, and President Gary Thomas said he would not allow a debate on the issue. Mancebo said legal costs include CDF documents that attorneys wanted to review. The lawsuit had issues with Howard Jarvis. Molinelli said, I imagine the invoice would itemize the hours spent. Mancebo said that is correct. Molinelli asked if they could see the amount of time billed on the CFD projects and also the amount of time spent on public information requests and also the legal fees spent on because of the lawsuits. Mancebo said that can be done, and Molinelli said, I'd like to see it. He also asked about a previous discussion of San Bernardino filing for bankruptcy, which prompted Director Art Troy to request an attorney to take us through that in a presentation. Molinelli said, is that coming? Will it come at some point? Thomas said, all systems go hand in hand, and I see it. So the presentation on the bankruptcy process and its implications need to be completed. He said it will show the rates that the Amador Water Agency will ask for, and customers need to know the implications and need to know that rates must go up because we can't afford to carry you anymore. And Mancebo said the bankruptcy presentation will come, but top priorities were a lawsuit, an internal loan, and an internal loan policy audit. Take a quick look at our weather today. It's hot out there, but a little bit cooler. 97 with a low of 62, winds out of the southwest 6 to 8, and it's going to be cooling down over the weekend with sunny high 94, low 63, winds out of the southwest on Saturday and Sunday 94 with a low of 62. Stay with us. When I return, we'll be talking with Patty Knoblauch, and she'll be our guest right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.